When she was a student here, she was very involved in many different activities. She was here for middle.
So what made her stand out?
It was really her presence. She was
you to Kappa, and she opened the door, and it's like a ray of light shining from above, and you're like, this guy.
She sat beside Oprah Winfrey and told the world she had been silenced. Then came the documentaries, the interviews, the speeches, the carefully polished image built around one explosive word: truth. For years, people believed every tear, every pause, every accusation. Sympathy poured in, fame multiplied, influence expanded. But now, in 2026, something feels different. The shine is fading. The walls around the story are trembling. And what may be hiding behind them is not another palace argument or a feud over titles. No, this time the whispers go somewhere older, darker, and far more dangerous. Because while the world kept staring at Buckingham Palace, another story was allegedly buried under legal locks, vanished records, and decades of strategic silence. Not a stray rumor, not an embarrassing photograph. Something much bigger. A missing year, a teenage marriage, a Las Vegas courthouse file nobody can touch, and a daughter allegedly hidden from the spotlight for 30 years. If even a fraction of it were true, it would not just damage the Sussex image, it would completely rewrite it. To understand why people are suddenly digging again, you have to go back to the one chapter critics say was never meant to be opened: 1994. Most teenagers leave footprints everywhere. Friends remember them. Photos survive. Summer plans become stories repeated for years, but according to the growing online obsession, the period between graduating high school and arriving at university became a strange blank space in Meghan Markle's timeline. The official version sounds harmless enough: a gap year, time to grow, travel, reflect, discover herself. Very wholesome, very clean, almost too clean, because investigators and gossip hunters keep asking the same uncomfortable question: where is the evidence? No confirmed travel trail, no receipts, no verified photographs, no friends publicly placing her abroad, no ordinary chaos that usually follows a 19-year-old's summer freedom. It is as if the moment the graduation cap landed, the record itself went dark, and whenever a gap becomes that perfect, people stop seeing coincidence and start seeing design. Meghan Markle. That is where another name enters the storm: Joe Giuliano. Long before the royal headlines, before Hollywood credits, before Duchess titles, the rumor says he mattered more than anyone knew. A high school romance in Los Angeles. Young, intense, deeply attached. The kind of relationship friends assume will either burn out quickly or become something permanent, and according to the whispers that refuse to disappear, permanent may be exactly what happened. Not a glamorous ceremony, not a magazine wedding, something small, impulsive, youthful, and legally real. Two teenagers believing they could outrun consequences. If true, it would explain why that missing year attracts so much suspicion. Because a secret trip is one thing, a hidden marriage is another entirely. But then comes the next layer: ambition, reinvention, escape velocity. The rumor claims that as dreams grew larger, a teenage husband no longer fit the future being imagined. Suddenly, the romance that once felt eternal allegedly became inconvenient, and inconvenient things, when careers are forming, often disappear fast. If the whispers are to be believed, the marriage ended almost as quickly as it began. Yet endings on paper do not erase beginnings in reality. Records exist, witnesses exist, families remember, which is why observers keep asking why Joe Giuliano has remained so silent, while the woman once linked to him became one of the most recognized names on earth. No interviews, no public bitterness, no dramatic denials, just silence so complete it has become suspicious all by itself. Then comes the location that gives this story its most cinematic twist: Las Vegas, a city famous for fast vows, faster regrets, and paperwork processed before sunrise. According to long circulating claims, that is where the alleged legal cleanup happened. Marriage filings, annulment whispers, documents processed and then supposedly sealed away from public reach. And here is where the gossip machine goes into overdrive. Because sealed records are not the same as forgotten records. When something is hidden that carefully, people assume there was something worth hiding. Critics say a routine youthful mistake would have faded quietly. So why, they ask, would anyone need extraordinary privacy? Why would researchers reportedly keep hitting walls when trying to verify anything connected to that period? In celebrity culture, absence often screams louder than evidence. Las Vegas. And once people begin sensing a cover story, they do not stop at one question. They create 10 more. Was the gap year really a gap year? Was a legal chapter quietly closed before a new life began? Did the public eventually meet a fully edited version of someone whose earlier pages had been torn out? These questions feed themselves because every polished image invites curiosity about what had to be polished away. That is the danger of building a brand around transparency. The moment cracks appear, every old shadow starts looking important. By the time she arrived on campus, the rumor says everything had already been reset. New city, new future, new narrative. To classmates, she was simply driven, charismatic, ambitious, ready for more. No husband, no scandal, no hidden chapter, just a fresh page waiting to be written, and she wrote it brilliantly. That is what makes this gossip so addictive to the public imagination. If true, it would not be a story about mistakes. It would be a story about transformation so total that the original version nearly vanished. But buried versions of the past have a habit of resurfacing when the present weakens. And in 2026, many believe the present is weakening fast. Now, another question is spreading through every corner of the conversation. If one chapter was hidden, what else was hidden with it? Because some believe the marriage rumor is only the doorway, not the destination. And once that door opens, the next claim becomes even more explosive than the first. And that next claim is the one turning whispers into obsession: a child. For years, one name has hovered around this controversy like a shadow that refuses to leave: Noel. According to the theory spreading across tabloids, forums, and gossip circles, while the public believed Meghan Markle was simply living through a harmless missing year, something much more life-changing was allegedly happening behind closed doors. The rumor says a baby girl was born in the mid-1990s, and instead of becoming the center of a young family, she became the center of a private arrangement. If true, it would mean that while the world later met a carefully polished future duchess, another reality had already been quietly set aside. That possibility alone is why people cannot stop talking about it. Meghan Markle. The theory claims the Giuliano family allegedly raised the child while Meghan moved forward into university life with a clean slate and no visible attachments. Whether true or false, the rumor survives because it carries emotional weight. People imagine the child growing up outside the spotlight, while her alleged mother climbed into global fame, speaking publicly about compassion, motherhood, authenticity, and family wounds. That contrast is exactly what fuels the drama. If the story is fiction, it is sensational fiction. If it held truth, it would be devastating truth. Either way, it keeps spreading because it touches the one thing audiences never ignore: the possibility of a hidden family story. Then there are the photos people endlessly discuss online. Supporters of the theory point to images of the woman identified in rumors as Noel and insist the resemblance is undeniable. They talk about facial structure, smile lines, eyes, posture, expressions. Critics call it nonsense and coincidence, but in internet culture, resemblance debates are rocket fuel. Once enough people start comparing faces side by side, the rumor gains a life of its own. And because no loud public statement has decisively crushed the speculation, the silence itself becomes part of the narrative. In celebrity scandals, denial can inflame a story, but silence can supercharge it. That brings the focus to 2026. Because a rumor about a child becomes more explosive when that child would now be an adult woman with her own voice, her own choices, and her own questions. People are asking whether time changes everything. Legal agreements age, family loyalties shift, secrets become heavier to carry. What may have been controlled decades ago becomes harder to contain in the era of DNA kits, genealogy databases, and one viral post reaching millions overnight. The digital world is merciless to old mysteries. It hunts patterns, it connects names, it compares timelines, it never sleeps. And then comes the question that places Prince Harry in the center of the storm. What did he know? If the allegations were ever true, there are only two possibilities people keep debating. Either he knew nothing and would be facing the deepest personal shock imaginable, or he knew and chose silence while publicly championing transparency, honesty, and breaking destructive cycles. Neither option looks comfortable in the court of public opinion. That is why gossip commentators say this story threatens more than Meghan's image. It threatens the entire moral identity the Sussex brand has sold for years. For Harry, the irony would be brutal. He wrote memoirs about hidden truths. He gave interviews condemning secrecy. He framed his journey as escaping generations of institutional silence. So if the greatest silence of all had been inside his own home, critics say the contradiction would be staggering. It would recast every complaint, every grievance, every declaration of honesty under a far harsher light. And if he truly knew nothing, then sympathy could shift sharply toward him in ways nobody predicted. Either scenario creates tension, and tension is what keeps this story alive. Spare. Then there is Buckingham Palace, always looming in the background of any Sussex controversy. Rumors in gossip circles insist the palace knows far more than it has ever said. Some claim files exist, others claim dossiers exist. None of it is verified. Yet the myth persists because the monarchy has long been seen as patient, strategic, and unwilling to reveal cards too early. Whether those stories are true matters less than what people believe, that powerful institutions sometimes win by waiting. If public narratives collapse under their own contradictions, they never need to strike at all. Buckingham Palace. And that is why 2026 feels different. The Sussex brand no longer carries the same unstoppable momentum. Projects have drawn mixed reactions. Public appearances face sharper skepticism. Sympathy is thinner. Audiences are less willing to accept polished messaging without scrutiny. In stronger years, old rumors might have been laughed away. In weaker years, those same rumors become dangerous because people are already looking for cracks. Once confidence drops, every unanswered question grows teeth. What makes the whole saga so gripping is that it is bigger than one rumor. It speaks to reinvention itself. Can someone completely rewrite a past? Can image outrun history forever? Can fame bury unfinished chapters permanently? Meghan Markle has undeniably mastered public transformation. She moved from actress to duchess to global figure with extraordinary discipline. But reinvention has one permanent weakness. It depends on the past staying quiet. And the past rarely stays quiet forever. Maybe nothing will ever be proven. Maybe the rumors are smoke with no fire. Maybe the sealed file mythology will remain internet folklore for another decade. But maybe the opposite is true. Maybe one unexpected document, one family voice, one genealogical link, one careless leak, one person deciding they are tired of silence could change everything in a single day. That is why people keep watching. Not because they know, but because they sense something unfinished. In the end, the most dangerous stories are never the ones celebrities choose to tell in interviews, documentaries, or memoirs. The most dangerous stories are the ones waiting outside the spotlight, growing stronger in silence. And if 1994 truly left unfinished business behind, then 2026 may be remembered as the year that silence finally started to crack.